One thing that really annoys me in this kind of makeup industry world that we're in is tinted moisturizers or skin tints, right? A lot of us are very, very aware that brands who, I mean, there was this whole movement, right, of brands releasing more skincare-esque, more like, oh, it's skincare, but it's tinted kind of situation, which is great if that's what you want. But when some of us want a skin tint, when some of us want our skin to be tinted, right? We don't just want a lightweight foundation. And that's what a lot of brands give us. They give us a light coverage foundation. That's it. And yes, you could apply a small amount, but it's still foundation, right? So I want to show you 4 brands today that have got skin tints right, correct. I've wear tested them. My skin is oily, dehydrated, but I think they would all work really, really well on dry skins. One might require a little bit of work. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna do my best to show you over the whole face because I want to do 4 different ones. So let's start with probably the newest one, right? And one that does require a little bit more work. I ordered this myself. I got this from Space NK here in the UK. If you want Milk makeup, Space NK is a place. So this is the Milk Hydrogrip Gel Tint. I was really, really excited about this because I'm oily, because I'm greasy. A skin tint that was gel based. Gel bases for oily skin, whether that be your skincare, eye cream, beautiful. Gels on oily skin are gonna last so much longer than like a cream or hydrating something. This is a shade 5. I think I did a wear test with number 4, and I could afford to go a little bit deeper, so I'm going to put on number 5 for you today. And I'm literally going to use my fingers. It has this very small little tube, little pump, beautiful. Now, here's what I look for in skin tint, right? I don't want to be overwhelmed by the product. I still want to be able to see my skin. I want my skin to look like skin. Let me turn on this camera. But I also want it to look like I have good skin, you know? Like I'm a skincare girly, like I take care of my skin, even though I really don't as much as I should. So what I really love about this is the formula, is the texture. It's not lightweight foundation. It is a skin tint, right? I'm going to build up a tiny bit more on my cheeks, just where I'm a little bit more red. But if I'm wearing a skin tint, I'm not really looking for 100% redness to be covered up. I just want my skin to be tinted. That's perfect. This is a perfect color, much better than the 4. Look at that. It still looks like skin. You can still see my skin. There's still some of my blemishes showing through. You can see my skin's texture. This is what a skin tint is. It is not a foundation with coverage. It is just tinting like a watercolor on the skin. You know what I mean? We're just getting rid of that redness. We're evening out the skin tone rather than going full coverage or, you know, high coverage. That to me is beautiful. It has more of a shine because it does have that gel texture, that gel formula, and it does sit really nicely on the skin. It doesn't get much oily or greasier than this. This is just pretty much how it sits. When you're putting it on, when you're applying it, it does have a feeling of thickness. Like it does feel like it could potentially have a fuller coverage, but as you actually start to blend it in, as it starts to work with your skin, you just start to see your skin come through and it leaves this beautiful finish. I would love to wear this somewhere where I really don't need to be wearing a skin tint. On a plane, on a beach. I never go to a beach because I don't like beaches. Somewhere it's like, oh, why are you wearing makeup? You know what I mean? I know Milk do other like tinted products, but I really do think that this is their best. I think they've incorporated what people love about the hydrogrip textures, you know, that hydrogrip primer, and really, really incorporated that into a really beautiful skin product. This is beautiful. This is the only one, though I did mention at the beginning, that needs a tiny bit of work. When I first got it, I opened one of them. I do this when I open packages and I'll just open it and I'll just swatch at my face because I've been so excited to try this. This is one of the releases this year that I looked at and I was like, yes, I really want to try that. I did use one shade on my cheek and my cheeks are quite textured. They're a little bit dry, they're a little bit dehydrated. And you can kind of see the texture. Some foundations, some formulas really make the texture obvious, right? And I did drag it on. Bear in mind, I didn't have any skincare on. I didn't do anything like that. I just dragged it on my skin and you could see it was quite textured. So what I would say is use a hyaluronic acid serum before you apply it or something like that. If you have drier skin, do moisturize. Although we like skin tints to be a little bit more skincare friendly, do have a good moisturizer before, because I can imagine it being a little bit more, I don't think it would grip to dry skin. I just can imagine it having a slight, you know, a very obvious texture on drier skin. Okay, next up, this was a surprise for me. This is the NYX it has a long name, sorry, Buttermelt Glaze Soft Glow Skin Tint. This is SPF 30. I use the shade number 3, Cashew Butter. And when I got this, I was actually expecting it to be I don't know why, because I really like NYX products. I was expecting it to be a lightweight foundation. But as I started to use it, I was like, oh no, this is what a skin tint should be. And I actually made a video about it, a short, like a reel, whatever. But the issue was, I didn't post it because the issue was, in my mind, on camera, on this camera, it really didn't look like it made a difference. The before and after was like, you know what I mean? But this is a lot more lighter weight than the Milk one. This one, you can probably use like 2 or 3 layers and get like a decent-ish coverage. Again, by coverage with a skin tone, I mean even, just even out the skin tone. But with this one, you can definitely still see more of a redness coming through my skin in comparison to this. It's not on my nose, it's just on my cheeks. But you can absolutely build this up, but then I do find that it will start to look a little bit makeup-y. So this one is definitely more of a 1 layer and you're good if that's what you want from your skin tint. If you don't mind building it up a little bit and you are a little bit more drugstore, that's kind of your goal, then this is a great one to go for. It doesn't smell like anything. It doesn't feel greasy on the skin. It doesn't feel, in all honesty, drugstore. Not that there's anything wrong with drugstore, but sometimes you can tell the difference. It's beautiful. I do find that these shades, you can see in the Milk one, it's kind of flat. That's my skin tone and it has a glow to it. I do find that these ones do give more, and I do have a lighter shade as well, give more of a warmth to the skin. Like they're not bronzing, but it does have more of that summer kissed vibe to it. I don't know if that comes across on camera. I think it does in comparison to this. I just love this Milk one. I just love the way it looks on the skin. It's so beautiful. Ooh. Okay, going back to something that's a little bit more on the higher end, we have Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Enhancing Tint. This is probably the first skin tint I use where it actually lasted on my skin, to be honest with you. It's a little bit more fluidy. You can see the texture isn't quite as gel-like as the first two. And again, this is one where you go in and it does have a little bit more coverage, but as you start to blend it out, and I'm going to cover my whole forehead in this, it does start to sheer out and you get more of that natural finish. Oh, this is, the shade I actually use is downstairs. This is one a little bit light. This is shade 6. Yeah, I usually use T7. This is T6. Now, the great one about this is I have been out with this for hours on my skin, and I mean hours. I mean from morning to evening, and it sits on the skin so well. I did a little bit of powder on top and that was it. I didn't have to do anything for the rest of the day, and I'm greasy. Like, you'll see my skin, especially my nose, I put something on and then 5 minutes later I'm shiny. So this one, in my opinion, does have a little bit more coverage than any of these two. So if we're looking at coverage, I think it's this one, and then this one so far. So Lisa Eldridge has a little bit more coverage, but still a skin tint. Milk then has probably the second more coverage, still a skin tint, and then the next one is a little bit less. But again, the texture of the formula, you can even see in my forehead, as I move my head, it is a little bit more matte in comparison to these two. So it does have more of that mattifying, staying power than, say, this beautiful glaze you get from the Milk, or this kind of more sun-kissed glaze you get from the NYX one. So for the days where I know I am out, I don't have time to do anything, time to touch anything up, and I mean for the whole day, I would go for something a little bit more like this. It's still a skin tint. You still get a really beautiful skin-like finish, that glow, but it's not as like glow as the others. Okay, last but not least is the Maybelline Super Stay 24-Hour Skin Tint. This is stunning. First of all, really beautiful. Again, an affordable price point. I'm going to use the shade 23. I believe it's 23. And I'm just gonna use a little drop because I'm just doing my nose. This is probably our fullest coverage in terms of skin tints. So let me run through those coverages again with you. At the fuller coverage for a skin tint, not full coverage, is Maybelline. Then it's Lisa Eldridge. Then it's Milk. And then with a least coverage, it's the NYX. So really depending on what you're going for is dependent on what you're gonna get. What I love about this one, and I wanted to use it on my nose because I wanted to show you, there's no texture here. It's just my nose texture. Usually if I put foundation on top of my nose texture, I get this really dried out kind of texture around here. It looks like dry skin. It physically looks like dry skin. Whereas this glides over really nicely. I haven't tested the 24-hour wear. I haven't been somewhere where I've had to wear this for 24 hours. However, I have worn it for 2 or 3 hours and it still looks stunning on the skin. This I would again say is for you more oily people out there. So those people want a skin tint, but you're not looking for something super over the top glowy, like balmy, like this NYX one, for example, or the Milk one, or the NYX one. Did I call it NYX? You know what I'm trying to say. The Milk and the NYX one give this more like balm texture, right? Whereas the Lisa Eldridge and the Maybelline ones look more matte, but still have a glow to it and still look like skin. If you're oily, these three are gonna work really, really beautifully for you. All of them will, to be honest with you, but I'm saying if you want like the best of the best for your oily skin, these three. If you are dry, I would recommend going for these three. The Lisa Eldridge one's good for drier and oily skin because it has a lot of skincare ingredients in it. People with dry skin tend to prime their face and get their face ready with skincare a lot more than say someone with oilier skin. The Milk one is a great texture because it's so beautiful. It has that really nice glow to it, but at the same time, when I put it on dehydrated skin, it was kind of obvious. So do just be careful there. And the Buttermelt one from NYX, I think it's just gonna be beautiful on the skin. Okay, well, those are 4 brands that are doing skin tints right, correctly. Everyone else, let's work on it. Let's work on it. Actually, are there any skin tints that you actually really like? And I mean ones that literally just tint your skin. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you very soon. Bye.